Welcome back. Leap and Forcer Podcast, episode 20. Just wrapped up week 7 of the NFL season. Had some pretty solid games this past weekend. It started Thursday night with Rodgers, Flacco, Battle of the 40-year-olds. What a game, though. They back and forth. It was like Flacco, Rodgers, like 2012 almost, the way that, they were slinging it. It was a back and forth game. Bengals ended up coming out on top. They beat Aaron and the Steelers. Kind of a little bit of a surprising game, but I feel like it was a little bit of a coming out party for Flacco. Flacco can sling it if he's got some guys to throw the ball to, which he's got Chase and Higgins. They have some weapons out there. So not really surprised, but I mean, Flacco looked extremely good that day, and Aaron looked really good as well. So back and forth game, great game. Probably one of the best games of the weekend. Shocking game of the weekend is probably that Denver Giants game. Giants were dominating that game until like pretty much the fourth quarter. And then there was a turnover by Jackson Dart, and Broncos came back and won it 33-32. So it's kind of a little bit of a shocker just because the Giants – I had Denver winning that game, but the Giants were up pretty much like the whole game. So it was just like a little bit shocking to me. On the week, we went 11-4. On the season, we are 77-30-1. So doing pretty solid. Now we're just getting ready for week 8 of the NFL season. Actually, you know what? I'm going to jump back into the Packers-Arizona game real quick. So Packers-Arizona, it was a super weird game. Micah had a day. He had 3 sacks. Gary had some pressure on the opposite side. It was like we could not put this team away. Our corners got, picked apart, and, our O-line held up okay. To start on the defensive side of the ball, played well. The front, our front four played well. Micah had a day. I thought that we might get a pick in this game. I thought McKinney'd get his first one of the season. That didn't happen. But, our corners they played well enough for us to win, but I definitely think it's still like our weakest point. I'm not going to go into all that again. But again, it's the same old story with this team. We just can't put teams away. Arizona plays us tough, though. I mean, they've lost, I can't remember the stat, but most of their games they've lost this year have been within 1 score. So, I mean, they hang around in like all games. I do think they're a better quarterback with Brissett than Kyler Murray. I don't really trust Kyler Murray all that much. Like I said before the game, I feel like he just wants to put his head down and run and not really like make the correct passes. But Brissett played well. He played tough. He held in there. I mean, he took some shots. But overall, our defense played good. I wish that our secondary, or I'm sorry, not our secondary, but our linebackers, Quay Walker, some of those guys are just getting a little bit out of position, and they're getting beat on, these offenses are just finding soft spots in that, zone. And, if it's man, Quay's not really picking up, or, if it's McDuffie, or Edger and Cooper. Kind of wish we'd blitz Coop a little bit more. I feel like when we put pressure on Brissett is when we were able to create havoc in the backfield. I don't know. I feel like we should blitz a little bit more just because we do have that the pass rush. If we can get to the quarterback, it helps our corners out. So, but on the other side of that, if you do blitz, you leave them on an island by themselves, one-on-one. So I get both sides of it. I just feel like lately when we do blitz, it's kind of something we don't normally do. So teams aren't really looking for us to do that, but I feel like it's been working really well for us. But just my 2 cents on it. Offensively, Josh Jacobs looks solid. He had a good game. We're not getting the yardage that we're used to getting out of our run game. I think that comes in, in part to getting our offensive line, healthy and kind of getting them back on track because, Aaron Banks was out, Zach Tom was out. We didn't know Jordan Morgan was going to play right guard. We had Sean Ryan. We were kind of mixing up people. We didn't know, what our line was going to look like. I do think the line we started with, I think that's going to be our best offensive line for the season, those 5, and I think we should just roll with those guys. So I think that moving on, I think they'll get a little bit more cohesive, and I think our run game will get a little bit better. The chemistry thing, Golden started to get going a little bit. Dobbs has been playing extremely well. And Kraft is just a monster. I just wish we'd get the ball in Kraft's hands a little bit more. And again, we don't feed hot hands. We kind of spread the wealth, around to other players. We're getting Watson back. I seen a thing today that looks like he is going to possibly try to play this weekend against Pittsburgh. So it's good to have him coming back. It's just I think the chemistry of our offense is still trying to figure out where we are. I was talking to a buddy earlier today, and it's like we got to wait for Toyotathon for Jordan Love to start balling out. But at the same time, I don't really want this team peaking, offensively too early either. So I'll take it. I mean, we're 4-1-1. Can't really complain about that. Getting ready to go into Pittsburgh. So number one in the NFC, and NFC North, but the NFC in total, we would be the number one seed right now if the playoffs started. We got a lot of season left, but it's crazy to say that we're not playing our best ball, but yet we're the number one seed in the NFC as of right now. So, but anyways, let's get into week 8 that's coming up. This has been kind of a dreaded week for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm wearing a Rodgers jersey. It's Rodgers week. I'm a Packer fan, but Rodgers is literally. I have 2 of my favorite players in the NFL. One is a Packer, Aaron Rodgers. And the other one's Peyton Manning. Not a Packer, I understand that. Still was one of my favorite players that ever played this game. I think he had the highest IQ level. I'm not going to go into Peyton, but I just think he was like the most intelligent quarterback that's lived, in my opinion. Rodgers, so growing up, I was a Packer fan. There was teams that, you like to watch. I used to like to watch The Greatest Show on Turf, Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, all those guys. My godfather, one of his friends growing up was Todd Light. Todd Light's a Flint guy from the same area I'm from. He played for the Rams. So I always kind of followed them a little bit. But I like Peyton. I would root for him wherever he was at as long as he wasn't playing, Green Bay. And, he was in the AFC. So it really didn't affect my, my home team. Well, my team, the Green Bay Packers. But to go into, like, the Peyton thing, he was drafted in 98. I liked football a ton up until, like my high school days. And then I kind of started to, like it more and more. I was always a basketball fan growing up. Always had been. That was my first choice. Getting into high school, Peyton was drafted in 98. He kind of gave me a little bit of like a love of the game more than I had anticipated. I liked it a lot before. I started to fall in love a little bit more with it, when Peyton was around. Favre was in Green Bay. I like Favre. Favre's never been my guy. I'm just being honest. I'm too young for Bart Starr. I really liked Brett Favre, but going fast forward to Aaron is really what made me like a complete diehard fan of football in general. I've always been a big football fan, but you have this like, it kind of made me like, I don't want to say a crazy fan, but he made me love the game more than I thought I ever could. So getting ready to play this guy coming up, and he's going to be in a Steelers uniform. I don't even know what the best verbiage to use. Nostalgic, maybe. Kind of makes me sick to my stomach. He's the GOAT, in my opinion. People say, oh, Super Bowls, Brady. Oh, this. Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT to me. He's the most athletic thrower. One of the most athletic quarterbacks to get out of the pocket and still able to throw the ball. One of the most precise throwers. He can flick his wrist and throw the ball 55 yards. He's, 40, 41 right now? And, he threw a Hail Mary that last game against Cincy that, it was like 70 yards in the air and still made it to the end zone. The guy's my GOAT. Him and Peyton, they're 1A and 1B for me. So, going into this week, it's tough. I'm always going to root for Rodgers. Rodgers has this bad rep again, like with the media, that he's this bad guy. Like he's arrogant. He's this, he's that. He's himself. And I think that really is something that bothers a lot of people because he doesn't feed into the media. He doesn't feed into what the media wants from him. He does his ayahuasca. He does these weird trips. Like, he's, during COVID, he got this bad rep because he, mixed his words. And the one thing about Rodgers is he's not just going to follow what the media wants to do. And I think that's one of the things I respect about him the most, but it's also what most people dislike the most. Because I feel like with celebrities, we're kind of told to follow the leader, the lead, with these celebrities. What they like, we're supposed to like. Oh, they like this, so we should do this. Or they're doing this, we should do this. Rodgers is like the complete opposite. And he gets such a bad rep from the media, but anybody that's interacted with him or have met him or have talked to him, say the complete opposite. He had an interview today, asked if this was like a revenge game coming up, against Green Bay. He says no. In the back of his mind, he wants to beat Green Bay. He wants to beat the front office that wanted to let him go. He wants to beat the front office that drafted Jordan Love. He wants to do, everything he can to win this game this weekend. He's a competitor. The guy's played for 20 seasons. He won a Super Bowl for Green Bay. And anybody that is rooting, I don't want to say you have to root for Rodgers, but anybody that's rooting for him to fail miserably, in my opinion, is not a Packer fan. The guy did so much for us. He kept us competitive year after year. Our defense failed us many years. Our special teams failed us many years. And I feel like Matt LaFleur failed us the last few years. I mean, we had Devontae and Aaron Jones, it was a combination of special teams, but I also feel it was a combination somewhat of LaFleur. And a lot of people don't want to put LaFleur, blame on LaFleur, and that's fine. But I'm going to. I just feel like some has been on his shoulders, some has been on the defensive shoulders, and Rodgers, every year he's came out and balled out. We get to the playoffs, and he would give it his all. And I think that we failed him as an organization to put pieces around him. I mean, we couldn't get a first round wide receiver forever. I mean, he was getting guys like Valdez-Scantling and Lazard, and he's making these guys into these wide receivers, and he made money for each one of them. And neither one, I mean, Lazard and Valdez-Scantling are two guys that just come to mind because it's two guys that he made look good, and they went to other teams and they couldn't stay on a roster. They're bouncing around the league. They're just filling wide receivers. So it's just, now we got Jordan, and they give him Matthew Golden, and they're surrounding him with all these wide receiver twos, which Devontae was a wide receiver one, and then we had a bunch of threes. Realistically, we had Cobb at a certain point, but these last few years that I'm referring to, that was he went to Dallas and then came back, but it was just I don't know. I think we failed him as an organization. And to kind of go into this, it's just going to feel weird. I'm not going to dive into the game as much right now, but I'm wearing a Rodgers jersey. I'm considering going to the game this weekend. Wink, wink. I kind of want to wear a Rodgers jersey. In my opinion, it's probably the last time I'll ever see this guy play, an NFL game. And, it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like watching Jordan. If you could tell me that, the last time I seen him, I would know it was the last time I seen him. I remember watching his game, not to confuse you guys. I remember seeing him, and it was when he came back for the Wizards and he retired. And I remember seeing that game saying, there's no way this guy is retiring after the season. And he retired after the season. Going fast forward to Peyton, I remember seeing him his Super Bowl season with Denver. They played in Detroit, and I seen him. And it's just games that stick out to me. And this game this weekend, knowing this is probably the last time I'll see Rodgers live, unless the Packers play the Steelers in the Super Bowl, which would be NFL cinema, which could happen, maybe. But maybe I'd see him then. But again, this is probably the last time I'm going to see Rodgers play. Rodgers is the GOAT. He's the best thrower of the football. He's the most athletic, thrower of the football, getting out of the pocket. He's thrown daggers in every NFC North team multiple times. The guy throws the best Hail Mary ball that I've ever seen. But he doesn't feed into all the BS that the media wants to drive. And I respect it 100%. And he left to the Jets, and I can't blame him for leaving. And I hated seeing him go down the first game. I hated it. I hated it for him. I knew he'd come back, with a vengeance to come back and try to put a better, name out there because he just went to the Jets. The Jets gave up a ton to go get him, and I knew it was time for Rodgers to leave Green Bay because they drafted Jordan Love, and you can only make the guy sit for so many years until you got to see what's there. Then he went to, the Steelers because the Jets organization is absolutely atrocious. I mean, look at they haven't won a game this year. They're 0-6, 0-7. And now you fast forward to the Steelers, and the Steelers they're not a great team, but he's above average quarterback. He's playing really good ball right now. He's keeping keeping his team in the game. He's doing exactly what Pittsburgh has wanted him to do. They're in first place in that division, and a lot of it has to do with how bad Baltimore is right now because Lamar has been hurt. But I mean, he's doing everything he can, to keep that team where they are, and it's still Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. So at the end, I mean, this is just going to be tough because I love Aaron Rodgers as a player. He's one of my favorite players. My Mount Rushmore, he's going to be up there. But at the same token, I love my Packers more. So I really kind of hope, I know I'm kind of rambling. It's hard to put into words like what's going through my head because all this stuff, I'm watching all these videos on Instagram and on TikTok, and it's just all these reminiscing videos of like, check on your Packer fans this weekend, and because we're not all right and things like that. And it's true. I mean, it's an emotional game for diehard Packer fans. I mean, Rodgers is my favorite Packer ever for my favorite team ever. Think about that. Like, it's not Favre. I'm too young for Bart Starr. I like Charles Woodson. My guy is Aaron Rodgers, and I speak for a lot of people out there that their favorite Packer is Aaron Rodgers. So I'm torn, man. I not torn on the game because I want the Packers to win. I want to see Rodgers ball out, completely ball out. I want it to be 45-42. I just want a shootout. I don't defense. Yeah, we have a great defense, Michael Parsons. I don't care. I want a shootout. I would love to see a shootout. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, but God, it would be so much fun to see fireworks between the teacher and the student. Rodgers, the GOAT, Love, the predecessor, the guy that's the next coming of, we hope. Just like we thought and hope that Rodgers would follow Favre. Now we hope that Love can fill those shoes and fill Rodgers' shoes essentially now. So I'd love to see a shootout. I'd love to see Rodgers ball out. I want us to win the game. If we do happen to lose this game, and I'm saying if we do happen to lose this game, I want it to be by a Hail Mary. I just do. I mean, it would be so fitting if it was a Rodgers Hail Mary that made us lose this game. I'd be upset, but I would also I'm not going to lie to you, I'd probably smirk a little bit and just say, this mother did it again. Because it's Rodgers. It's what he does. We'd feel like every Lions fan. We'd feel like every Vikings fan. We'd feel like every Bears fan. And it's Rodgers. I mean, I love Rodgers. Like I said, I'm not going to go into it anymore. But, if I go to this game this weekend, man, I got a lot of jerseys. I even have a Leap Enforcer jersey. Some of you guys seen that when I was at the Cincy game a couple weeks ago. If I maybe make myself to the front row this game this weekend, I'll probably wear my Leap Enforcer jersey. But I don't know. These long sleeves, I don't know if any of you guys got this long sleeve when they were available. This has been a few years back. I've had this thing probably 5 years, 6 years. It was like a long sleeve. It's kind of like almost like a sweatshirt. It's so comfortable. But the NFL made these, and I think they should bring them back. But anyways, would you guys wear a Rodgers jersey, or would you wear, I got Parsons, I got, Golden, I got Jacobs, I got Reed, So what would you guys do this weekend? Is it weird to wear a Rodgers jersey? I don't really give a shit if it is. I mean, I'm still going to root for the Packers, but I want to see Rodgers do well. And some of you guys that are like, oh, I just hope Parsons destroys him, and I hope, Rashawn Gary, hits him hard, and I'm like, come on. Like, at the end of the day, he didn't draft Jordan Love. Who drafted Jordan Love? Goot? Goot's still there. Why are you pissed at him? Because he's been asking for help for wide receivers and running backs. You never drafted anybody. You just gave him a bunch of cast-offs. Why do you want him to get hurt? Why do you want to see him do so bad? It makes zero sense. Coming from, I'm a massive Packer fan. I'm a bigger Packer fan than anybody I know that is anywhere in this vicinity of me. Like, I mean, people know me. Like, I'm a Packer fan. And it kind of rubs me the wrong way of like, oh, he left, he did it. Yeah, he fucking left. Excuse me. Yeah, he left. Yeah, he left. He didn't leave by necessarily by a choice, but you draft a quarterback that's going to be the guy that takes your position, and you still want to play ball. What are you going to do? You're going to go try and prove yourself. Went to the Jets, got hurt. Went to the Steelers, and now he's proven himself. He's going to take that team to the playoffs. They're leading the division. Nobody had the Steelers leading that division. Nobody had them winning that division. They win a few more, 3 of the next 4 or something. They almost put that division out of, reach. I mean, Cincinnati's not good. Cleveland's not good. Baltimore, I think they're going to get hot because their schedule is as soft as Charmin. Coming up. If you look at their schedule, geez, they could go on a 8, 9, 10-game winning streak. It's crazy, whatever's left. Their schedule's super soft the rest of the season. We get them between Christmas and New Year's, but it's soft. If you go look at the schedule, there's teams that they're going to just run. They should run all over as long as Lamar comes back. But anyways, Aaron's doing his thing. I hope he continues to do his thing. I hope they make the playoffs. I hope he continues to be successful with that team, and I'd like to see him, go out with a successful season, a little bit of a playoff run, and honestly, I'm going to be honest. I hope the Packers make it to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. Everybody wants that for their team. If the Packers don't win the Super Bowl, would I like to see Rodgers win? Absolutely, I would. 100% I would, because he deserves another one. We failed him as an organization. So why would you be mad at a guy for going to get a title with another team because the organization he was with for 18 years failed him when he was playing MVP ball? You can't do it all by yourself, and you don't have a defense that can help you out. So at least go get him somebody else to throw the ball to outside of Devontae Adams. But they didn't do that. So anyways, again, I want to see Rodgers do well. I want Green Bay to win this weekend. I want a shootout. I don't want a defensive game. I don't want him getting hurt. I don't want anybody getting hurt. But I want to see Love, and I want to see Rodgers, and I want to see them go at each other. Kind of like Flacco and Rodgers did on Thursday night this past weekend. That's what I want to see. You guys want to see a defensive struggle? You want to see Love struggle more? You want to see this offense not be able to move the ball? No, I don't want to see that. I'm done seeing this. I want Toyota-thon Jordan Love. And I want vintage Aaron Rodgers. What's wrong with that? It's my guy. As a Packer fan, you should want the same. I'm not saying that you want them to win, but damn, root for the guy. The guy did so much for Green Bay. But anyways, I'm gonna dive into this game a little bit more coming up this weekend. I gotta get my thoughts together on that one. It's just a tough week, man. This week I had circled on the schedule. When the schedule came out, it was just like, oh. We got to play Aaron Rodgers. The same guy that we rooted for 18 years that torched teams and ripped their hearts out. Now we got to worry about him doing that to us on Sunday. He's the GOAT. You don't think he's the GOAT? Great. Go love on Brady. Brady's overrated. He's got Super Bowls, great. Robert Horry has a ton of NBA championships. Doesn't mean he's the greatest. It's my opinion. He was blessed with a great system, great coach, surrounded with a really, 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 really good defense all the time. And then he gave him Randy Moss to boot. Come on. Anyways, I ain't going to hate on Brady. I don't like Brady. I think he's overrated, but I'm not going to hate on him. Anyways, Rodgers the GOAT. What would you guys do this weekend? You think I should wear a Rodgers jersey or any other player that's currently with them? So anyways, if you watch it this far, sorry if I was ranting. This is just a tough week, man. If you're a Packer fan, you'd understand. If you're not a Packer fan, you won't understand. Maybe if you're a Patriots fan and Brady left, maybe. If you're a Colts fan and Peyton left and you got to play him, maybe. When Favre left, it was kind of like, I don't know. Favre was just kind of whatever to me. Like, I like Favre, but it's not Rodgers. So when Favre left, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's with the Jets. Cool. He's with Minnesota. Went to Minnesota, really? Okay, whatever. Aaron Jones is in Minnesota. He's a division rival. I love Aaron Jones, though. I'm still root for Aaron Jones. Why? Because he did a lot for the Packers. He just shouldn't have cut back when they were playing the Niners, and he should have stayed outside and kept running, but here nor there. Anyways, I'm rambling. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys are going to the game this weekend, shoot me a message because I'm leaning toward going, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. So also, if you guys have been to it's not Heinz Field now, it's Acrisure Stadium, some shit like that. Anyways, Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium. like go-to places, like restaurants. Like, is there anything I should do in the area if I'm there? Any bars that I should just go have a beer at? What's the thing in Pittsburgh? Like Green Bay cheese curds. What is it in Pittsburgh? Just let me know. Also, what areas would you guys stay? Where would you guys not stay? Where do you guys park? I don't know any of this. I've been past the stadium, but I've never been to the stadium, in the stadium for a game. So in case I go, shoot me a message. Let me know. I would appreciate it. Leave a comment because I have no idea where I'm going, but I'm about 5 hours away from there. So that's all I do know. So anyways, appreciate you guys watching Leap Enforcer Podcast. This was episode 20. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I was on Spotify, but I'm not really doing the Spotify thing anymore because it was like weird uploading and nobody listened to it. So anyways, I appreciate you guys following me. Give me a follow. Give me a comment. Unless it's just a shit comment. Don't leave those. But anyways, talk to you guys. Thanks.